back with more Expected and Unexpected by Arctic Vulpix. We are on chapter 61, and we are now starting the math free. We're not starting in night 2. I think it's night 2 or night 1, I guess. But Springtrap is here, so we're officially starting FNAF free, which means new thumbnail and new place to wander around in these videos. So yeah. Also, Springtrap is in the thumbnail. It's just hard to see, which I did not realize while making it. So we're just stuck with the thumbnail. So let's just get right into this. And if you want to follow along, chapter link will be in the description below. As always, let's get started. Chapter 61. Hello, Springtrap. Ruby slipped into the pizzeria early for her shift. The manager had phoned her to let her know that the new animatronic was arriving that night, and she was determined to be there, alone. She appreciated the fact that the original was worried about her and didn't want her to get hurt, and she understood why Katie was so adamant every night about persuading Ruby from making a deal this time. She still needed to, though. It was the only way to get the results she wanted. And Ruby was nothing if not stubborn. She waved absently at the staff members who were leaving for home, getting more friendly smiles and goodbyes than glares. Despite her pranks, she got along with most of the people who worked there. The butts were all powered down at this point, getting ready for the night. They didn't know she was coming early today. It'd be easier to do this without them fussing around her. She headed towards the newly built part of the building. It wasn't big, just a series of winding corridors and vents with a few small rooms packed into a small area. As she unlocked the door separating the new attraction from the pizzeria, she looked around at the decor. Admittedly, it looked pretty cool. The older kids were going to love the spooky atmosphere. There was going to be an age limit to who was allowed in, and it was difficult to sneak inside, but she didn't doubt that someone would try. The office was the first thing you saw as you entered. Since the place wasn't actually going to be open to the public for a couple of weeks, nobody had been hired to play this part yet. The room was still filled mostly with boxes of random Fazbear stuff. The path took you past the room through winding corridors that ended back at the office again. She knew there were some vents that acted as shortcuts as well, but the guests wouldn't be allowed in them. The place looked good so far, and the layout worked for what she had in mind. It wasn't as big as the pizzeria, but then again, there was only one bot that she'd have to worry about. She strolled through until she reached the storage room where she heard the delivery people talking. Geez, it's a creepy one, a male voice said. Thanks, too, a female complained. Why are we still here? Can we wait in the main building? This place gives me the creeps. The manager said the night guard has to sign off on the delivery here. The first voice answered calmly. They're late, she grumbled. Actually, you're early, Ruby interrupted as she entered the room, throwing the woman a mild glare. Who are you? The woman asked early. The teen just pointed to her night guard cat with an "Are you stupid" expression. She took in the room while the guy ignored his coworker and handed the forms over to her. Ruby Stone? He checked. Yep. She eyed the ragged animatronic leaning against the wall. Apparently deactivated. Time for one creepy robot. He grinned slightly. Ruby smirked back as she scanned the forms and signed at the bottom. Like Teapot now, she told him cheekily. You look kind of familiar. My brother delivers most of your weird orders to your residence, he explained as the woman stalked out of the room in an annoyed huff. Someone didn't like being ignored. Ruby laughed. Oh, Sammy's brother. He's the only delivery guy who will brave my front yard anymore. He's always got some story about you. The man shook his head. Anyway, enjoy your night, Ruby. Bye. Ruby shut the door behind him, and her grin disappeared as she turned to face the new animatronic. He was a rabbit, probably golden once, but now horribly dirty. He clearly hadn't had a clean in decades. His ears weren't in a great state. Actually, he was in a great state in general. She could see why they'd chosen the horror theme, since they were too cheap to try and fix him instead. In a dark room, he could be pretty terrifying. The teens would love the fright. She laid down the door and studied him. Hello, Spring, she started, eyes locked on the bot. Or should I say, Springtrap? And she saw it, a spark of light in his eyes, even as the rest of him didn't move. She felt the familiar anger rise in her as she noticed that the light was red, like when the brats possessed her box. Are we gonna play possum all night then? I already heard the whole story from Goldie. Nothing for a moment, and then that bear is still around? I thought they got rid of her after she bit that kid's head off. The voice was deep and scratchy from disuse. The bot's head slowly lifted to look at her. She'd never seen so much malice in an animatronic's eyes before. Not even when the brats possessed her bot. Not even in the puppets. And he talks! Ruby cried out sarcastically, clamping down on the furious urge to smash his head in for the comment about her friend. We have quite a bit to talk about, you know. Oh, do we? He had started to stand up, joints protesting from age and lack of care. I feel I'm at such a disadvantage. I know nothing of you, yet you seem to know some secrets about me. Like the fact you're a child murderer? She asked sweetly, clinging to an animatronic body that isn't yours because you're afraid of what happens next? Afraid? He took a step forward. No, child, not afraid. I'm just not finished. Ruby laughed. Am I supposed to be afraid of you? You're a pile of parts about to fall to pieces. I've been faced with much more terrifying things. Things are never normal in this building, girl, he growled. A night within these walls and I'll be at full strength again. Probably, Ruby nodded, surprising him. I realized it when I found out that the animatronics could still work with the occasional squeaky joint and fried circuit as their worst problem, even though they were scavenged for parts years ago and then put back together for this last restaurant. I saw it happen when the toys showed up with more problems than he could keep up with, but they suddenly could jump right back to work after a couple of nights. So yes, I know after a night you'll be dangerous. You'll try to kill me. She smirked contemptuously. You're not much danger now, though, are you? His eyes narrowed and she snickered. Why, a little kid could push you over with hardly any effort. Imagine what a pissed off teenager could do. She was swinging Betty absently beside her, a teenager who's already had tons of experience with possessed murderers and animatronics. When I hit them, though, all they get is a headache. When I shock them, they get a bit twitchy for an hour. I do wonder, what will happen if I put the same force into a swing at your head? I've been told I've got one hell of an arm for baseball, you know. He was watching her wardly now. Have I got your attention now? She asked. Since you haven't actually attacked me yet, then I assume there's something else you want. He asked calmly, but she could see the rage in his eyes, the madness. Good guess! She exclaimed. You see, I have a particular distaste for ghost possessing bots. The brats that haunted this place were hurt in my box for a long time by doing that. On top of that, I'm quite fond of Goldie, and you upset her. So I'm quite determined to get you out of that bot. You assume there's anything left in here but me, he pointed out with a sadistic smile. He's been gone for a long time, girlie. Now, I don't believe that, she smiled dangerously. I'm not in the habit of taking psycho killers at their word after all. This body has been mine for decades. He's gone, and I'm not giving up, he growled at her. Then how about Gabe? Ruby asked, heart pounding in excitement. Logically, she should be looking forward to this again. She shouldn't be happy about another game, but she was. Gabe? He echoed, sounding interested despite himself. The ghost kid was right, it seemed. Yes, I played it twice now, you see. With the ghost brats, I won, of course. Then with the toys. Again, I won. Since I won, they can't try and kill me again, and the brats can't possess the bots while I'm working here. They're also not allowed to kill anyone else that happens to be working with me at night. What kind of game? He asked after a long moment of silence. She smirked inwardly. She could hear his eagerness in his voice, even though he tried to hide it. You get a week. 1 week. Monday to Sunday to kill me during my shift. If you do, you win and I die. If you don't, I win and you can't possess Spring anymore. Or any other bot. The room was eerily quiet, but it was almost like the building sat up and took notice as she spoke, like it had with her two other deals. Why should I agree? You want this robot intact, so you wouldn't destroy him now, and I won't be weak for long, he pointed out. But you see, I have 5 bots who don't like you, and it will make your stay extremely difficult. They don't like it when anyone tries to kill me. Plus, you can't fit in the vents in the main building. Catching me would be extremely difficult, and I could delay the opening of this attraction indefinitely. Or maybe I'll just trap you in a secret room for a few decades. You're outnumbered here, buddy, she explained gleefully. Of course, if you agree to my deal, no one else can participate. It means you can't interfere with anyone in this building either. Just me. And we stay at this attraction, not in the pizzeria. Less places for me to hide and no small events. She let that sink in. Foxy already almost tore the Barbie rabbit to pieces when he hurt me. You wouldn't last 10 seconds. And Goldie, she added, and Goldie can't appear anywhere and teleport anyone with her. That would make your killing attempt near impossible. He was glaring hatefully at her by now. My deal sounding better yet? She asked earnestly. The building doesn't let either of us break it once it's made, too. It's binding. They stared at each other in silence for a few moments. A week, he finally ground out. You're trapped in this part of the building with no assistance from anyone else. None, Ruby nodded. Human or bot. They're all safe from attacks from you, too, until the week is up. I'll kill you, just like I killed all those other children. You're older than I prefer, but you'll do for now. He was smiling now, a twisted and cruel grin. If I win, you're out of Spring, and you can't possess any bot while I'm working here. Ruby felt a slight urge to add the condition of her working at the pizzeria, just like she had before. The deal had to be fair. She was sure the building influenced the conditions every time. Deal, he agreed. Smiling viciously as he held out his hand. Ruby stepped forward, ignoring the smell of death that hung around this monster like a cloud. Deal. She shook it, locking eyes with him. We start tomorrow night. I do hope you give me a challenge, little night guard. He pulled her closer so they were almost nose to nose. Be careful what you wish for, creep, Ruby hissed with a dangerous light in her eyes. Enjoy that body while you have it. It won't be yours for much longer. The building shuddered around them as the deal was set. She turned away from the killer, picking up the delivery forms to file. Until next time, Springtrap. By the way, it's Ruby. Call me girly again, and I'll choose rebuilding Spring's head over keeping my temper. She slammed the door behind her as she left. Oh, this game will be fun. He laughed quietly to himself. This is the perfect way to get back into practice. Foolish girl. Risking her life for a bot that's not even there anymore. I erased that rabbit long ago. On the other side of the door, Ruby leaned against the wood. Never underestimate animatronics. Stronger than you think, Springtrap, she whispered before straightening up and walking back to the main building. Time to face music. They would have recognized the signs of her making the deal. And that's the end of chapter 61. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, go leave a review, as I said at the beginning. Chapter link is in the description below. So we're done here. Go, go, go. Show the author some love with their review and all that. But before you go, make sure you subscribe. I upload new videos every Friday and Saturday. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the next chapter of Meaning of the Mind.